Hello, and welcome to my channel. Relax, and get ready to listen to today's story.
Now you're about to hear a thrilling tale of a mystical mansion on a hill. Greenfield, a small town nestled on the outskirts of a vast forest, was known for its lush greenery and tranquil atmosphere. The townspeople went about their daily lives, unaware of the enigmatic presence that loomed over them, the Hill House. Perched atop a hill, the house stood tall and imposing, its dark silhouette contrasting against the vibrant landscape. Rumors and superstitions surrounded the Hill House like a shroud. Whispers of hauntings and strange occurrences had been passed down through generations, making it a subject of fascination and fear. The townspeople believed that the house was cursed, its walls holding secrets and spirits that refused to rest. Emma Thompson, a curious and adventurous journalist, had always been drawn to mysteries and the unexplained. She had heard tales of the Hill House since she was a child, and as she grew older, her curiosity only intensified. Emma's inquisitive nature led her to question the validity of the rumors surrounding the house. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma delved into the history of the Hill House. She spent hours in the local library, poring over old newspapers and archives, searching for any mention of the house's previous owners and the strange events that had occurred within its walls. The librarian, Mrs. Jenkins, an elderly woman with silver hair and kind eyes, noticed Emma's persistent interest in the Hill House. She approached Emma one day while she was engrossed in her research. "Emma, my dear, I couldn't help but notice your fascination with the Hill House," Mrs. Jenkins said softly, her voice carrying a hint of concern. Emma looked up from her pile of books, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Yes, Mrs. Jenkins, I've been researching the history of the house. I want to know if there's any truth to the stories that surround it." Mrs. Jenkins sighed, her expression filled with a mix of caution and curiosity. "Oh, my dear, the Hill House is a place best left alone. It holds secrets that are better left undisturbed." Emma's curiosity only grew stronger at Mrs. Jenkins' words. But what if there's more to the story? What if the rumors are just that, rumors? Mrs. Jenkins leaned in closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "There have been tales of hauntings, strange phenomena, and even disappearances associated with the Hill House. It's not a place to be taken lightly." Emma nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "I appreciate your concern, Mrs. Jenkins, but I can't help but feel drawn to the mystery of the Hill House. I need to see it for myself, to uncover the truth." Mrs. Jenkins sighed again, her eyes filled with a mix of worry and admiration. "Very well, my dear. Just promise me you'll be careful." The Hill House is not to be trifled with. Emma smiled gratefully at Mrs. Jenkins. "Thank you for your concern, Mrs. Jenkins. I promise I'll be cautious." With renewed determination, Emma continued her research, fueled by her curiosity in the stories she had heard from Mrs. Jenkins and others in the town. She knew that her journey into the enigmatic Hill House would be filled with uncertainty, but she was prepared to face whatever lay ahead. Please support my channel by liking and subscribing. As Emma began to inquire about the Hill House within the town, she discovered that the superstitions surrounding it ran deep. The townspeople, though hesitant to speak openly about their beliefs, were more than willing to share their encounters and experiences in hushed tones. One evening, Emma decided to visit the local pub to gather more stories about the Hill House. The pub was filled with locals, their voices hushed as they exchanged tales of their encounters with the supernatural. She approached a group of men sitting at a corner table, their faces etched with lines of wisdom and weariness. "Excuse me, gentlemen," she said politely. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation about the Hill House. Would you mind sharing your experiences with me?" The men exchanged glances before one of them, an older gentleman with a grizzled beard, spoke up. "Ah, lass, the Hill House is not a place to be trifled with. It's haunted, plain and simple." Emma nodded, her eyes filled with curiosity. "I've heard the stories, but I want to know more. Have any of you had first-hand encounters with the supernatural there?" The men exchanged another glance before the bearded man sighed and began his tale. "I once worked as a handyman for the previous owner of the Hill House. Strange things would happen, lass. Doors slamming shut on their own, whispers in the night, and a constant feeling of being watched. It was enough to make your hair stand on end." Another man chimed in, his voice filled with unease. "I used to live near the Hill House, and I can tell you, strange things happen there. Lights flickering on and off, objects moving on their own. It's enough to drive a man mad." Emma listened intently, scribbling notes in her notepad as the men continued to share their encounters. Their stories confirmed what she had read and heard before. The Hill House was a place of mystery and supernatural occurrences. As she left the pub that evening, Emma couldn't help but feel a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The tales she had heard only fueled her determination to uncover the truth behind the enigmatic Hill House. Armed with the knowledge she had gathered from the townspeople, Emma felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation as she prepared herself mentally and physically for her exploration of the Hill House. She knew that she was about to step into the unknown, but her curiosity pushed her forward. With her backpack filled with essentials, a flashlight, extra batteries, and a few snacks, Emma set off towards the Hill House. The path leading up to it was overgrown and eerie, adding to the sense of foreboding that hung in the air. As she walked along the winding trail, the trees seemed to whisper secrets, their branches swaying in the wind. The air was heavy with anticipation, as if the Hill House itself knew of her impending arrival. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Emma reached the top of the hill. The Hill House stood before her, its imposing presence casting a shadow over the surrounding landscape. The once vibrant greenery seemed to pale in comparison to the dark aura that emanated from the house. Taking a deep breath, Emma stepped forward and pushed open the creaking front door of the Hill House. The air inside was heavy with silence, broken only by the sound of her own footsteps echoing through the dimly lit hallways. Dust particles danced in the sunlight that filtered through the cracked windows, giving the house an ethereal quality. She explored each room meticulously, documenting her findings with her camera and notepad. The faded wallpaper, the worn-out furniture, and the faint scent of decay added to the eerie ambience. As she ventured deeper into the house, Emma couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. In one room, she discovered a grand library filled with dusty books lining the shelves. She ran her fingers along the spines, feeling a sense of reverence for the knowledge contained within. The room seemed frozen in time, as if waiting for someone to unlock its secrets. As Emma continued her exploration, she couldn't help but notice the intricate details of the architecture. The ornate moldings, the stained glass windows, and the grand staircase spoke of a bygone era, a time when the Hill House was filled with life and laughter. But now, it stood as a silent witness to the passage of time, its secrets buried within its walls. Emma's curiosity burned brighter with each step she took, pushing her further into the depths of the Hill House's enigmatic past. Emma's exploration of the Hill House led her to discover hidden passages and secret compartments within its walls. She marveled at the craftsmanship and ingenuity behind these concealed spaces, wondering what purpose they had served in the past. In one hidden compartment, she found a stack of old journals. The yellowed pages were filled with handwritten accounts of previous owners' experiences in the house. They spoke of strange occurrences, doors slamming shut, whispers in the night, and a constant feeling of being watched. Alongside the journals, Emma uncovered a box of faded photographs. The images captured moments frozen in time, families smiling, children playing, and celebrations held within the walls of the Hill House. But behind the smiles, there was a sense of unease that lingered in their eyes. As she delved deeper into the journals, Emma discovered a common thread, a dark secret that seemed to be at the heart of the Hill House's mysteries. Each family that had lived in the house had experienced their own unique brand of hauntings, but the root cause remained elusive. One journal entry stood out to Emma. It belonged to a young woman named Elizabeth, who had lived in the Hill House in the early 1900s. Her words painted a vivid picture of the supernatural occurrences that plagued her family. "The night is never truly silent in this house," Elizabeth wrote. "Whispers echo through the halls, and shadows dance along the walls. My daughter, Emily, wakes up screaming in the middle of the night, terrified by unseen forces. I fear for our sanity, for our very lives." Emma's heart raced as she read Elizabeth's words. It seemed that the Hill House had a hold on its inhabitants, tormenting them with its dark presence. She couldn't help but wonder what had caused such malevolence to take root within its walls. As she continued to read through the journals, Emma uncovered more clues, mentions of a tragedy that had occurred within the house, a secret that had been buried for years. The pieces of the puzzle were slowly coming together, and Emma knew that she was on the verge of uncovering the truth behind the enigmatic Hill House. As Emma continued her exploration, she began to experience firsthand the strange phenomena that had been recounted by the townspeople. She heard footsteps echoing in empty rooms, saw lights flickering on and off inexplicably, and felt an icy breath on the back of her neck. One night, as she stood in the hallway, a chilling wind swept through the house, blowing out all the candles she had lit. In the darkness, she heard whispers, faint voices that seemed to come from all directions. Goosebumps prickled her skin as she realized that she was not alone. "Who's there?" Emma called out, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and curiosity. The whispers grew louder, their words indistinguishable but filled with a sense of urgency. Emma strained to listen, her heart pounding in her chest. Suddenly, a door at the end of the hallway slammed shut with a resounding bang. Emma jumped, her breath catching in her throat. She slowly made her way towards the door, her hand reaching out to turn the handle. As she pushed open the door, a rush of cold air greeted her. The room was shrouded in darkness, but Emma could sense a presence within. She cautiously stepped inside, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. In the dim light, she saw a figure standing by the window, its form ethereal and translucent. It turned towards her, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Emma gasped, her heart pounding in her chest. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The figure didn't respond, but its presence seemed to fill the room. Emma could feel its anguish, its longing for something beyond the confines of the Hill House. Trembling, she reached into her backpack and pulled out her camera. She snapped a photo of the figure, capturing its ethereal form in the frame. The flash illuminated the room for a brief moment before plunging it back into darkness. As the light faded, so did the figure. It dissipated into thin air, leaving Emma standing alone in the room. She knew that she had witnessed something extraordinary, a glimpse into the supernatural realm that dwelled within the Hill House. Armed with the clues she had gathered, Emma spent countless hours connecting the dots between the Hill House's past owners and the supernatural occurrences. She discovered a pattern: each family that had lived in the house had experienced their own unique brand of hauntings. The journal she had found revealed a common thread, a dark secret that seemed to be at the heart of the Hill House's mysteries. Emma's determination to uncover the truth only grew stronger as she pieced together the fragments of the past. The evidence continued to mount, confirming the haunting nature of the Hill House. Witnesses came forward, sharing their own encounters and adding to the growing body of proof. The need for resolution became urgent as they realized the impact the house had on the town's psyche. Emma knew that she couldn't keep her findings to herself. She needed to confront the current owner of the Hill House, who was unaware of its dark history. Armed with her evidence and experiences, she set up a meeting with Mr. Johnson. As she entered Mr. Johnson's office, Emma could see the apprehension in his eyes. He had agreed to meet with her, but his skepticism still lingered. "Mr. Johnson, thank you for meeting with me," Emma said, her voice steady but filled with determination. "I know this might be hard to believe, but I have evidence that suggests the Hill House is haunted." Mr. Johnson leaned back in his chair, his expression guarded. "I've lived in that house for years, and I've never experienced anything out of the ordinary. Are you suggesting that I've been blind to all this?" Emma shook her head. "Not at all, Mr. Johnson. It's possible that certain individuals are more susceptible to the supernatural energies within the house. Just because you haven't experienced anything doesn't mean it doesn't exist." She proceeded to present her findings, laying out the photographs, journals, and testimonies of witnesses. Mr. Johnson listened intently, his skepticism slowly giving way to a growing realization that there was more to the Hill House than met the eye. I don't know what to say," Mr. Johnson finally admitted, his voice filled with a mix of awe and uncertainty. "If what you're saying is true, then the Hill House holds a dark secret." Emma nodded, her eyes filled with empathy. I believe that the hauntings are a result of a tragedy that occurred within the house. The spirits trapped within its walls long for resolution, for peace. Mr. Johnson ran a hand through his hair, his gaze fixed on the floor. What can we do, Emma? How can we bring closure to the Hill House? Emma took a deep breath, her voice filled with determination. We need to delve deeper into the history of the house, to uncover the truth behind the tragedy. Only then can we begin to address the hauntings and bring peace to the restless spirits. Mr. Johnson looked up at Emma, his eyes filled with a newfound determination. All right, Emma. Let's do it. Let's uncover the truth and bring closure to the Hill House. With their shared resolve, Emma and Mr. Johnson embarked on a journey to delve deeper into the history of the Hill House. They consulted experts in paranormal activity, researched archives, and interviewed more townspeople who had encountered strange phenomena. Emma and Mr. Johnson's relentless pursuit of the truth finally paid off. They uncovered a shocking revelation about the Hill House's past, a tragedy that had occurred years ago, shrouded in darkness and sorrow. The house had become a vessel for the restless spirits trapped within its walls, yearning for peace and redemption. The dark secret was revealed, shedding light on the supernatural occurrences that had plagued the Hill House for generations. The town's superstitions were validated, and the need for closure became paramount. Armed with the knowledge they had acquired, Mr. Johnson took necessary actions to address the hauntings and bring closure to the Hill House. He sought the help of experts in paranormal cleansing, who performed rituals to cleanse the house of its dark energy. Emma, true to her journalistic nature, wrote an article detailing her investigation and revealing the truth behind the house's mysteries. The article circulated through the town, capturing the attention of the townspeople and beyond. Emma's determination and bravery were acknowledged, and she became known for her investigative skills. With the resolution of the Hill House's haunting, the town began to overcome its superstitions. The house on the hill, once feared and avoided, was now seen in a new light, a testament to the power of redemption and the human spirit's ability to confront the unknown. Emma's work had brought closure to the Hill House and its restless spirits. The town, once plagued by fear and uncertainty, began to heal. The stories of hauntings became a thing of the past, replaced by a newfound sense of peace and understanding. As for Emma, her journey into the enigmatic Hill House had changed her forever. She had witnessed the supernatural firsthand, delved into the mysteries of the past, and brought resolution to a place long haunted by tragedy. Her name became synonymous with bravery and tenacity, a beacon of light in the darkness of the unknown. And as she looked back at the Hill House one final time, Emma knew that she had fulfilled her purpose to uncover the truth and bring closure to a place that had been shrouded in mystery for far too long.